Every great religion teaches us about man's universality, that we are capable of amazingly good things. And perhaps what scares us most about the Holocaust is it reminds us that we are all capable as human beings, too, of immensely bad things. And that when we see that in our fellow human being, the responsibility is not just to speak out against the massacres that get so big that we know that they will be in history books forever, but those smaller ones that can lead to that. That universality requires of us to speak out, to stand up, to be heard, because blood spilled because of a blind eye stains us all.
Each of us here today is an entire world. We hold the memory in our DNA of all that has come before us. For some of us, those memories are blessed, and for some of our friends and family, more than we could ever possibly realize on a sunny day in Southern California. Those memories are tinged and changed with great loss and great sorrow. Let us all, together, commit to continue to carry one another and to hold each other's histories. Let us commit to say that this history is important and has meaning. Let us remember it as we hope others would remember us, so that human life stolen is never forgotten, so that righteous action may be taken in their names.
And so today, I ask that we find the strength to make this choice. Here at the LA Museum of the Holocaust, we are told stories that hold suffering and honor the dead and name the atrocities, but also refuse to accept that the world is defined by those atrocities, and instead honors the threads of love and humanity and courage that have defined and continue to define countless interactions through years of horror and inhumanity.
We, the survivors and their descendants, who make a point of remembering, know just how quickly things can change, how evil can spring up and engulf an entire population. We are dismayed, but not surprised, by the terror of ISIS in Syria and Iraq. We are disturbed, but not shocked, by the murderous attacks in France, Belgium, and across Europe. To quote the old radio program, we know what evil lurks in the hearts of men because we have seen it visited on our own families.
We cannot assume that the memory of the atrocities of the Holocaust will endure. This is why memory needs to be living. It needs to be active, and it needs to be interactive, or it simply becomes ink in some dusty books. And this memory of the horrors of the deliberate, systematic plan to annihilate an entire people simply because of their religion is too important to leave to chance. Elie Wiesel once wrote that to forget the dead would be akin to killing them a second time.
But the message that we want to communicate with you today, our dear survivors, is that we are all of your grandchildren. You have given us many gifts and your precious stories, and we are honored and ready to carry them into the future.
While my children were young, with my late husband's support, he encouraged me to go back to school. I changed majors. I ended up graduating at UCLA with a psychology degree. First, I volunteered at Jewish Family Service. Then I actually became a social worker there. And I am able to give back to the community the compassion which I received as a young child. The young child could have never survived without the compassion of the other people who were in the camps and looked after the young little girl. I speak often in schools, and I put tremendous emphasis on a lot of things that previous people spoke about. But I like to emphasize education. Education is one thing that nobody can take away from you. And I really make sure that the students hear me. As it was said earlier, it has been 70 years that we were liberated. And I'm among Holocaust survivors, and I feel very humble to represent them. And I can see from the previous speakers that our memories will not be forgotten. And I thank you so much for your attention.